Welcome back. Wasn't Kim so amazing? I mean, she truly is the definition of, I guess, a girl boss or the most empowering boss, but I have got so many more girl bosses coming up. I am really excited to welcome Mandy, Teefey, and Taylor Cassidy to talk about activism and really getting out of your comfort zone and being fearless and utilizing social media as well to do it. So Mandy and Taylor, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
I've got so many. Sorry. I know I haven't done this with two yet because I just did it with one. So I guess anytime I say something, Mandy, you go first and then Taylor.
Okay.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, it was great. Okay, but good plan.
Oh my gosh. Well, I am so excited. And this is such a great panel because both of you, Mandy, your background in production and especially with TV is so phenomenal because you haven't necessarily utilized things as much as someone like Taylor has, like social media, because you didn't grow up with it. So I want to talk to you both about how to, Mandy, follow your path career-wise, and Taylor, also do it your way. But let's start, Mandy, give us a brief overview of yourself, and then Taylor, you can do it too.
Well, really quickly, I am an executive producer. I'm the CEO of Kick to the Curb Productions. We're more known for 13 Reasons Why and Living Undocumented and Broken Heart Gallery. And I really just try to do content that can make it feel like you are in a room with a friend, and like it also has a message without being preachy, so that you can kind of relate to the characters and the story and connect. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And we're also building another multimedia company right now for mental health. So that's my background.
Yay. For me, I am a social media content creator on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and I make content around Black culture and Black history. I have a series where I tell about Black figures in 60 seconds or less, and I have recently started a series called Black Girl Magic Minute on my YouTube channel, where I interview creators about their creativity, trends they have created and they may not have gotten credit for. And that's how I use my voice on social media and uplift others.
I love that. Let's start with a question for both of you, but Mandy, you can start with your answer. I would love to know, how can everyone, no matter the size of their online platform and the cause that they care about, utilize something like social media, not to become famous, but just to spread awareness? Is there one thing that someone can do that can help spread a message about something that they care about?
I like you said, I didn't grow up with social media, so I still have a hard time kind of logging into certain little platforms. But what I like to do is I try to find a collective core group that has the same thing that I'm interested in, and try to like start following those and commenting on those posts to kind of build a little bit of support and to find out what they're doing and how I can help uplift what they're doing. So that's kind of how I utilize the space, being the old woman right here.
No. Taylor, what about you?
Yeah, I'm going to build off of that and say that whenever you find those communities talking about an issue that you really care about, is, amplifying their voices and sharing their posts, or even putting like a petition in your bio, something that is educating you and calling action to others. It's really important to know that no matter how small your platform is, if you share your passion, people are going to see that passion and care about the issue as well. So post about things that other people are talking about and using their platform for, sharing your story, share on your feed, any way you can. Nothing is too small.
Prior to today, all three of us had a call off camera, and some of the topics that we talked about were just how you can utilize a platform and also become successful without social media. Because right now in this day and age, all people and young people want to be is famous and viral. And I think both of you, as well as myself, agreed that going into something like social media or starting any type of company or following an idea with the intention of being famous is not a sustainable way to do it. So Mandy, I would love to know, what is one piece of advice you have for someone who is looking to pursue some type of career in entertainment and potentially isn't having the success that they want? Would you say that they should be using social media more? Should they be looking into other areas of the industry to pursue if they're just getting frustrated that it's not working out?
I think a really good advice on that is if you wake up, and this is maybe for any entrepreneur, if you wake up and figure out what you can give instead of what you can take, you're going to be able to climb the pole faster and climb and get to where you want to be, because once you're giving, then people want to give to you, and it just becomes a beautiful support system. So, and also with entertainment, I feel like, interning, joining different kind of organizations that allow, like, people that are beginning or just out of college to join and get to kind of know what you want to achieve in that business, and then just build your way up and explore. That's the beauty of entertainment. You can explore and do all kinds of different things. But to me, it's all about what can I give when I wake up in the morning instead of where am I at on the charts.
And I bet, Taylor, you kind of agree with that too. I mean, have you ever dealt with any negativity on platforms like TikTok where you have amassed a huge following for someone who is 17 years old? And how do you overcome that negativity?
Yes, negativity is a given, whether you are on social media or not, but especially if you're looking to create a platform on there, it's gonna come. I definitely get negativity on videos, especially if it's on issues. And the best way that I combat it is realize that it's most likely not going to be about me. It's going to be about the person that's commenting it, whether they have some sort of insecurity or something that they're going through. They're putting it out on a platform where they probably they have a chance to not have their face behind it or not have their identity behind it. So um, if it starts like getting to me, the best thing that I can do is turn my phone off, take a break, and remember that the highlights of what I'm doing is the cause that I care about and the passion that I'm doing. And that negativity isn't gonna, at the end of the day, isn't gonna like drive what I really wanna do. So taking a break from my phone, especially.
And anyone putting anyone down is just insecure, unfortunately, themselves. So I guess you have to feel not as angry whenever someone reaches out or is mean, but more so like this person's really struggling. That's unfortunate that they're so fascinated by you that they want to post something that's not nice. So Mandy, I'm curious, social media in many ways acts as a resume, which can mean that mistakes and failures can be documented online like they weren't before. When you were growing up, if you went to a party or something nothing was getting posted that you might regret or wish you didn't say. So how would you recommend recovering from any mistake online? So for someone in their 20s, if they do have something that happens, how do you bounce back from that?
I think that that's kind of a loaded question, because I really kind of feel like what is the actual mistake that they're making? If they misspeak and they don't know what they're talking about, I think you take accountability and then you just like educate and you try to reciprocate the education you received. I'm so sorry, but accountability is, I think, the best way for everyone to grow from a mistake. And everyone makes mistakes, and it is kind of unfortunate that this generation is under such a microscope, because it's almost like the world is on their shoulders, but then they're not allowed to grow and make mistakes. And I will tell you, from the age 16 to what I am now, I was a totally different person all through that growing up. And had that all been documented, how did I know what I really wanted to be at 15 when I'm, now 45? It's like, and what my stance is in the world travel and the education that I've received, it's just, I'm a totally different person. And so I just think, making sure that I think if you make a mistake and you intentionally hurt someone directly, just own up to it, apologize, and see how you can help the situation. And it is, like I said, a loaded question, because there's different types of mistakes you can make on social media, and some you can bounce back faster, and some you just have to ride with the wave and know that everyone does it. Everybody makes mistakes, so you can't beat yourself up and focus on that, otherwise you won't grow.
And that accountability is such an important thing. And I know a lot of the themes throughout 13 Reasons Why really introduced young people to these things like bullying and social media, and how difficult it really can be, even more so now, to be in your 20s and your late teens than it was in the past. Taylor, you're so young and you have created this amazing following for yourself. But do you ever have moments where you feel like, as an influencer and as a content creator, you have to constantly be on or constantly be the person that people want you to be, even though maybe you have a different thought on something or something like that? Because I've talked to a lot of content creators, and even the term influencer, which I don't love. And sometimes it's like you have to be two different people, but you seem to have found a really good middle ground.
Yeah, it's really great that you bring that up because last year I was finding that balance between being the person that people expected me to be and wanted me to be, and really staying true to myself. I would do these positivity videos where I would do like motivation, and I still do them, but for a time I would be doing them and putting on this like character and this face because it was what people expected me to be, and it really did take a toll. And what happens is whenever you sacrifice yourself for other people's pleasure, for other people's validation, you burn out and you lose yourself. But in realizing that life happens and those things that you share online, they happen off of social media, is really what solidified my ability to be authentic online. And I really think I'm at that place now to where I can balance both of those, of being myself online without needing that validation or needing that security of a character or something like that. So it's definitely a balance of remembering that being online is not all there is to life.
Can I add to that because I really love what you said, Taylor? Um, I really think that the danger with the younger generation growing up with this, they do feel like, you know, they have to change who they are in front of the camera, and I think that leads into their own life, and like being alone and not understanding what they really want in life because they're either following the latest TikTok trend or they're following the latest Instagram trend, and they're looking at, you know, some of these people going to really high levels of fame really fast and not understanding the dangers that can come with that rise so quickly, and what do you do with that power at a young age, you know? And so yes, Taylor, you are bomb and you have done an amazing job, and much respect for you. And I really just feel like as long as you can just be yourself, if you go to my Instagram, it looks like a 12-year-old post for me because I'm like, I don't know how to do anything. Nothing's filtered. I'm just like, you know, my videos, people's heads cut off, and I'm just like, you know, so authenticity is so important just for yourself, if not even what you're trying to achieve.
Yes, I definitely agree with that. And I see you said, Mandy, that you know didn't grow up with having to share your entire life online. And that's the difference, is that the younger generation, everything comes from social media. How to be successful, how to get famous, how to make money, all of that comes from social media. So we have to kind of relearn how to live without it, and keep our voice without it. So it's definitely something to look into, and it's definitely a new topic of discussion. So yeah.
And I also think it's important that people realize that there are so many other jobs out there as well. Just because it's cool and it's successful. I mean, both Mandy and Taylor are here to tell you that being in entertainment, and especially being online and in the public eye, is not always what it's cracked up to be. Mandy, what do you do to decompress when you feel really overwhelmed or anxious? And then Taylor, I would ask the same question to you after.
Well, I usually I do two things. One is really basic. I go in my room, shut all of the blinds, don't take any devices, and just watch Schitt's Creek for like hours and just laugh. Or I like to either go somewhere in nature or get in like go to Airbnb, find a house or a cabin for like $90, which I know is not accessible for everybody, but I like to go out there and then just decompress and try to reevaluate where I'm going, because it's so easy to get caught up in like what's being brought to you. And you're like, yes, yes, yes. And then you're like, oh, I really didn't want to do that. And now I don't feel like I'm being, you know, authentic and representing. And did I do this wrong? So I really try to take those breaks, even if it's a day or two a month. And, you know, like next week, we're going on a retreat for 5 days in a house, you know, my whole staff, and we're decompressing from social media. And we are just going to just do all kinds of fun stuff, but also work. So I just think really nature for me does it.
I gotta use that Airbnb idea. That sounds really good. That sounds
Love
Yeah.
it.
really nice.
Yeah,
Uh,
it is nice, especially by yourself sometimes. You're like, yes.
yes. I love going to museums. I've recently started doing it. I realized last month that I've lived like where I've been living for 7 years, and I haven't gone to like the big museums in my area. And I was like, we're gonna fix that. And so I would literally turn my phone on do not disturb and like go to a museum by myself and just walk and learn about where I live and its history. And it's just a great way to have silence and remember that there's a whole world behind you outside of social media. And it's a really great way to kind of like recharge and be energized that even though I am young, I have so much more life to experience and live.
Something that's so interesting, especially about social media, is that you can't know when someone's being authentic, right? And that can be really difficult because this year's theme for this particular summit is Babes Against BS, BS meaning bullshit, obviously. And I find on social media and growing up, I never knew when someone was authentic. And then people amass these huge followings and they end up being found out that they were kind of fraudulent, or that they were vegan, but they eat meat, but they talk about veganism all the time. How do you go online or find someone to follow and know that they're authentic, Mandy? Like when you even make a new friend or something, how do you know who to trust or traits you look for?
Well, the trust that takes a time, that takes a minute in entertainment. You have to build that one. But what this is kind of my outlook on things. If I find someone that I like what they're saying, the message that they're spreading, and I follow it, and then all of a sudden it comes out fraudulent, I'm bummed. But what did I take away even from their fraudulence? Like if they were like reposting things that weren't really their sayings or their quotes, and then they quote it as themselves, it's like, okay, well, now I've learned about that other person who has an amazing voice. And so I just try to be positive. It's like, LA, this isn't social media, but in LA, there's a huge homeless population. And I always give like money. And my husband's like, oh my gosh, they're just going to go, drink or whatever. I go, I did my job as the human of supporting them. They can do whatever they want. This is their life. I'm going to help them like have a better life, even if it's $2, like no big deal. And so that's how I think about anything. It's like, oh, you get a little bummed, but at the end of the day, you also have to understand why they're being considered fraudulent and who's barking that noise at them, and are they being fraudulent. So I think you just enjoy what you can and don't take it so seriously and personal. That's how I deal with it. And then sometimes if I have like negative comments or anything, me and my husband like make up voices and read it like cartoons. So if someone's like, oh, I hope you die, we're like, oh, we hope you die. And like, just like try to make it comedic instead of taking it personally. That's really silly because we're just an old couple, but
No, Taylor,
we're like,
I mean, how do you know what authenticity is, or how do you think that, or why do you think that people follow you and can know that you're authentic?
I think a great trait of seeing authenticity in people is whenever they don't stray away from their own problems and they don't try and cover it up. A lot of times you'll see maybe if somebody is putting on this like perfect persona, they'll try and like stretch that perfection out. And even if they do make a mistake, they'll try and like cover it up with like humor, or cover it up with a fashion or a cute outfit or something like that. But when someone is brave enough to be vulnerable online, whether that be in addressing a comment that really did hurt them, or whether it be like addressing a mistake they made, like you said, Mandy, that is a great trait of seeing authenticity in people. And if it's somebody that you're getting to know online, like on a personal level, it's just like a friend. Something that I see like with authenticity in friends is pay attention to how much they're complimenting you. Like, are they complimenting you more than they're holding you accountable? Or are they just praising you all the time? Or are they actually saying, hey, maybe you shouldn't post that because it's kind of, out of touch or something like that. And just having those spaces to be vulnerable is something that is really great to see in people who are being themselves online.
I think being vulnerable is so awesome. We have time for 2 questions from our YouTube. Mandy, there was one that says, as a producer, how do you come up with the topics you want to cover and ensure you're telling an authentic story?
I scour IP like books, and then we either option those or we read headlines constantly on the news, reading other people's stories. So far we have like, told other people's stories, like with the documentary. And then I feel if it's not something that I can be passionate about and like I really feel what the message is or what we're doing, it's not going to be authentic for me. Therefore, I just don't do that. And so I just am very selective on it because it takes a long time to get anything done. It took 10 years to get 13 done because of the topic. I understand that. But if you have the like fire in your soul about what you're telling and you love the people around the project, that's how I kind of determine, how much more I'm going to give to it. And that's if that's something I really want to invest maybe 2 to 3 years of my life in just developing where we're going to create the story. So it has to be authentic to who I am or something that I would enjoy watching.
So interesting. And Taylor, how do you come up with TikTok ideas? And what do you think of the communities that can be built online through social media platforms like TikTok?
I come up with ideas from my life. It's really important to look around your life and see, what do I care about? What are my passions? And I literally have in my notes app throughout the day, if I have an idea like, I wonder why we never talk about this, and I'll write it down. And then like the next day I'll go and like really research it, and then I'll make a video about it. It's all about being observant of your own life and taking from it. And in that, whenever you share it, those communities that maybe thought of that idea as well can come and learn about it with you, talk about it with each other, and they start to form a community that's really passionate about that subject. And so those communities can become very strong and active. And it's a great way. It's definitely a great thing to do on TikTok just because of how many active users are on there. So just be observant, be passionate, and don't be afraid to break outside of the box and break your own rules in creating.
Mandy and
Let's
Taylor,
let Oh,
amazing.
sorry. I was just saying, let's just say there's no box at all. Never think about a box. Do
Oh,
your
yeah.
thing.
Thank
Do
you
your thing.
guys are
Yeah.
amazing, amazing. I wish I had more time because I would ask you so many more questions, but we have to wrap up now. Thank you both so, so much for being here and for using your platforms and companies to be such fabulous advocates for every person out there. You are both amazing. We are going to head now into our next panel. So there will be a short intermission and we'll be right back with the 2021 Be Fearless Summit at Vanderbilt.